Hello everyone, I'm Beastly Eel, and in today's video we're going to be doing a Marvel character spotlight on Agatha Harkness. So this is Agatha Harkness from Earth 616. We're going to be talking about her comic book history, from where she was before being introduced in the more modern times of 1969. You'll understand what I'm talking about as we get through. So Agatha Harkness was old enough to remember 500 years before Atlantis sank to the bottom of the sea. Back then, she had contact with the cosmic being, the Surveyor, who had promised her that he would return when needed. At some point, Harkness became interested in witchcraft. In the early 15th century, Harkness was stationed in Transia near the One Mountain, where she was part of a coven that also included Corinia, Corina, Corina, um, and a few others as well. I'm not even going to try to pronounce their names. One time, the group gathered to try to put an end to the witch hunts happening across Europe, and one of them sacrificed a friend of theirs, Cornea, who was deemed the weakest, to invoke the powers of Voltor, much to the shock of everyone else. So basically, they were attempting to sacrifice one of them to gain immense power. For years, Harkness tried to rescue Cornea from the dominion of Voltior, but was never powerful enough to do so. By the late 17th century, Harkness had settled in the English colony of Salem, Massachusetts, where she formed her own coven of witches, hoping to freely practice magic in the New World. But her group was prosecuted during what became known as the Salem witch trials, and in 1692 she encountered the mutant hero Firestar after she was accidentally sent back in time. Believing Firestar to be a witch, the people of Salem tried to burn her at the stake. However, she fought back and was later contacted by Harkness via telepathy. Harkness revealed that she approved of the trials, believing them necessary for magical people to grow stronger and be prepared for the war against mankind. She even sent some of her coven to the to the group, to get rid of the weak. She asked Firestar to join her, but she refused, and a fight ensued. After Firestar showed she was more than a match to Harkness, she freed some of Harkness's own people and begged Harkness to let them live away from mankind. Finally, admitting warfare wasn't the only solution, Harkness decided to um, dull her desires, and basically allow them to do what they wanted to do, and led them to the mountains of what became Colorado. Agatha Harkness and the witches that accompanied her built the city of New Salem, where they prospered away from the troubles of mankind. Harkness married and gave birth to a son, Nicholas Scratch, but eventually decided to leave the city. At the end of the 18th century, during the American Revolutionary War, Harkness joined the Daughters of Liberty, a group of women fighting for justice in the New World. She used her centuries of knowledge to train them in mystical arts. At the end of World War II, she was recruited by U.S. Army Major Alan Dacor, alongside the Ghost Dancer and Emerald Warlock, to join the Department of the Uncanny to help stop the threat of Hilda von Hate, Franklin's nanny. At some point, having settled in the U.S., Agatha Harkness became a governess, teaching children, in need before retiring. However, when the Fantastic Four reached out to her to care for their newborn, Franklin Richards, she agreed immediately once she considered who his parents were. For those of you who don't know, Franklin Richards is the powerful child of Sue and Reed Richards, who at one point has been able to create an entire universe in the palm of his hands. And at one point, Galactus was his herald, just so you can kind of understand how powerful this person is. But this was also in the 60s, where Franklin didn't really have much of anything. So when the heroes first brought Franklin to her house atop Whisper Hill, she invited them to spend the night, as it was too late and too stormy for them to return home. Though once the Thing and the Human Torch had settled down, the Thing fell through a swiveling painting in his room, and straight into the clutches of the Frightful Four. The Evil Four soon captured the rest of the Fantastic Four, but they soon faced Agatha Harkness, whom they underestimated. She warned them that her cat Ebony's hackles were up, but the wizard ignored her in warning and attacked. The cat transformed into a massive panther and soon sent him fleeing out of the window. where he smashed into the tree and was knocked unconscious. The Sandman and the Trapster attacked moments later, but Agatha turned the Sandman's body into rock, used her magic to convince the Trapster that the newly freed thing was a monstrous demonic creature, wherein frightened, dead away in fright. The rest of the Fantastic Four soon recovered as the Frightful Four's weapons crumbled to dust minutes before, thanks to Agatha. They rushed to locate the baby and found him in Agatha's care, sleeping soundly. Before they also went to sleep at her, basically her asking them to, Ben Grimm spied a book entitled Tales of Old Salem on an end table. Agatha taunted him with the possibility that she was a witch, which sent him running down the hall in his own room. Agatha became Franklin's permanent governess afterwards. She took Sue and Franklin into her home when the Atlanteans attacked New York. When Sue tried to surprise Franklin by trying to sneak up on him while invisible, he somehow was able to see her. She told Agatha, but she dismissed it, leaving her to suspect her of keeping some sort of secret from her. Agatha later contacted Sue during the middle of a fight to come to help her son. Agatha then revealed her magical powers to save Reed Richards. Reed and Sue thanked Agatha for saving him from the negative zone, and Sue and Franklin returned to Whisper Hill. Sue left Franklin once again in Agatha's care and went to help Reed again. Agatha contacted the team to warn them of the danger of the Overmind. She then helped them contact the Watcher at the Citadel. She then told them to contact Doctor Doom for help. She warned them again of the danger with the arrival of the Airwalker. Reed asked Agatha to help link minds with the President of the United States to convince the threat of Galactus was over. Agatha went on a secret trip and returned Franklin to his parents. Agatha soon tried to help Franklin when his power started to emerge, and Agatha then used Franklin's power to destroy Ultron. After meeting Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch, she sensed her desire to better control her powers and offered to become her new tutor. Claiming her tasks with little Franklin was complete and Susan should be the one taking care of him now, Wanda was thrilled with the prospect of improving her witchcraft skills and thus accepting the offer. She trained Wanda until she was married to the synthoid Vision, at which point she told Wanda she's done her part and Wanda would have to keep learning on her own. Back in New Salem, Harkness's son had fathered 7 children who had received tremendous power and started calling themselves the Salem's Seven. With their help, Nicholas Scratch took control of the town and persuaded its inhabitants that Harkness had betrayed the community's secrets by working for the Fantastic Four. She was forcibly brought back to the community along with Franklin, so she might be put on trial. The Fantastic Four followed and came into contact with Salem 7, successfully defeating them and freeing Agatha. In the process, the community of New Salem was shown the evil of Scratch, and he was banished to another dimension. Eventually, Salem 7 took over the New Salem community. They captured their grandmother, killed her by burning her at the stake. In an ensuing battle between the Scarlet Witch and Salem 7, the entire community's energies were drawn into the vertigo of the Seven, who lost control of them. Wanda managed to capture some of the energy and funnel it away, but the entire town was still decimated, I should say. Wanda channeled the remaining energy to set in motion her becoming pregnant with Vision's children. Later, Harkness resurfaced, avoiding explanations of her return, when Mephisto revealed that he had absorbed Scarlet Witch's children, which he had become fragments of his soul all along. Harkness wiped Wanda's memory of her children to help cope with her loss. Harkness ultimately died a second time after Wanda confronted her about her children. Later, Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. found Agatha's corpse in her home, as Scarlet Witch had murdered her teacher in cold blood. Sometime later, a partially amnesiac Wanda told Hawkeye that she was under the care of her Aunt Agatha in a small apartment. When Wanda was sleeping, Hawkeye, curious about his aunt's true identity, tried to turn the doorknobs in her room, but the doorknobs appeared to slip from his hands, similar to Wanda's past subtle probability manipulations. Wanda also mentioned that this about this aunt to Beast, saying stuck out there for she was stuck out there for purposes of looking after an elderly relative who would worry if she got home late, aka talking about Agatha. Agatha was resurrected when Wanda's mother, Natalia, sacrificed her soul to receive the goddess of witchcraft. With this lease on her life, she returned to the living on where it all started to begin with, Wungagore Mountain. After killing Ebony as part of a ritual to see the future using the Wundagore Everbloom. She had a vision in which the vision was covered in blood standing above his dead allies. She warned the Avengers about it, and they sent Victor Mantia to spy on Vision, which ultimately led to the exact thing Harkness was trying to prevent. When Vision's son, Vin, set out about Mancha, Mancha accidentally killed him to shut him up, leading Vision to fight all his allies so he could get to Mancha to kill in retaliation. The truth, however, was that Vision's wife, Virginia, was actually behind the whole thing. She had tempered with Vision's brain so he would turn on his allies. However, Virginia accidentally ended up experiencing the future as well as realized Vision would no longer be the hero he'd fought his whole life to be. Not willing to let that happen, she rushed to his side and killed Mancha before he could, committing suicide shortly after. After a brief stint back at the Daughters of Liberty, Agatha Harkness was invited to teach a few classes at the new Strange Academy, which she deemed an interesting opportunity when she learned that Nico Monaro and Zoe Lavrio, descendants of her old coven colleagues, would be there as well. And at this time, Ebony had also returned to the land of the living through mysterious ways. In the meantime, Cornea was still trapped in the dominion of Voltor, finally managed to defeat her captor and take control of the dominion. Driven by the desire for revenge, Cornea, now calling herself Corazon, planning to bring the end of the world, but Harkness attacked her with a magical dagger that could siphon her power, while Zoe and Nico destroyed the black mirror that acted as the link to the dominion of Coruscant. With the energy unleashed, a huge explosion followed, and in the end, neither Cornea nor Harkness were anywhere to be found, and in reality, Cornea would have been sent back to her domain while Agatha had gone into hiding after being returned to her youth. Going on a personal quest to create a new Darkhold, Harkness tricked the Scarlet Witch into letting her inside her body, in which she ripped Chaitan's heart, which is the master of the Darkhold. She soon began abducting various heroes and pitting them against each other to see which one would be worthy to be endued with chaos magic. From this, battles Wolverine, Storm, Human Torch, Taduki? I might be pronouncing that name wrong and I do apologize. White Fox, Venom, and Cyclops came victorious, causing Harkness to take control of them through chaos magic. Agatha and her mind controlled heroes went to an abandoned ship in the Bermuda Triangle and had them fight the demons that arrived to stop her from creating the new Darkhold. Clea began investigating the abductions of the heroes and eventually encountering Harkness in the astral plane. The two women battled, but the fight was cut short as Harkness was pushed back to her body. Learning that Harkness was creating a new Darkhold, Clea and the Avengers tracked her to the Bermuda Triangle and went to prevent her from reaching her goal, as it could end in catastrophe. Harkness had the mind-controlled heroes protect her as she began performing the ritual to create the Darkhold. Despite this, the Avengers managed to thwart the ritual, which ended in an explosion. Harkness washed ashore where she was approached by a young boy. She questioned him and where his parents were, but the child told her he didn't have any and revealed to her that he was the Darkhold she was attempting to create in human form. Hmm. So she's done a lot, right? Her powers. Let's go right into this. Witchcraft, the ability to tap into this universal's infinite store of ambient magical energy and manipulate these to a variety of effects, a skill derived from three major sources: personal powers of the mind, soul, and body, powers gained by tapping into the universe's magical energy and employing it to specific effects, and finally, powers gained through the tapping of extra dimensional energy by invoking entities and objects of power existing in the mystical dimensions um, connected to her own. The latter means of power is usually gained by um, recitation of incantations, basically saying spells. So she has the ability of binding people, dimensional manipulation, energy projection, elemental control, which is air, electricity, water, and fire. She has experience manipulation. She was able to cast a spell that allowed Steve Rogers to experience a half a millennia of events from the past in an instant. She has the ability of flight, force fields, fusionism, Harkness can merge herself and others into one. She has the ability to cast illusions, advanced longevity. She lives much longer than a regular human. Magical awareness, magical negation. She has the power to negate magic and nullify spells. Magic reflection. She can bounce it back at you. She is mystical invulnerability. She is resistant against mystical attacks. Purification. She's able to purify and clear away objects or magic from evil and sins, like she did after she channeled all the magic from the town of New Salem. Um, scrying, scrying. By using the crystal balls, she can view and absorb people's locations. Sorry. She can seal people away. She can manipulate people's souls. She has the ability to manipulate things with her mind. She can tell. She has telepathy. She can teleport. She can transmutate, turning anything into something else. She has voice manipulation. She can basically has projected Reed Richards' voice across the entire planet in every language. She also has witch sight. As one of the more powerful witches on the planet, Harkness can see things beyond what normal humans can see, such as the aimless ones. She is also has a vast knowledge of magic spells and magical items. This probably has to do with the fact that she's been studying the arts for thousands and thousands of years, which helped her be as powerful as she is. Which is weird to me because when we go to her power scale, right, and Marvel has it out of 7, as they always do, her intelligence is a 4 because it's gifted. Her strength is a 1 because it's weak. Her speed is a 1 because it's below normal. However, with teleportation, she has warp speed. Her durability is a 1, which means she's weak, but it's her energy projection that is a 6 because it has multiple types, which, because of her magic, that would make the most sense, and her frail body, for the most parts, have caused her to be, how do I want to phrase this? Um, Vulnerable is the best way to put it. And her fighting skills are a 1 because it's poor, which, when talking about fighting skills, it is not her magical fighting skills. It is her fighting skills in hand to hand combat, which is where she's not at the best, which is why it's considered a 1 and poor. Now, the reason why I wanted to do this character spotlight on Agatha was due to the fact of, one, I did not realize how much of a story she had before meeting the Fantastic Four. Um, you know, working in Salem and in Europe, and then obviously in New Salem and everything else there, and creating the new Darkhold. Things I didn't know. So it'd be interesting to see where we're going to see Agatha's story in Agatha All Along. So that'll be coming out in September, and I'm hoping we either get New Salem or potentially the ability of Agatha creating a new Darkhold, which I'll be very interested to see if that is the case. But let me know what you guys thought about this character in the comments down below. Do you like it? Do you not? And why? And if there's a character you would like me to do a character spotlight on, please let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you like the content you see, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a great night.